Hi, this is Liji, and today we will use a real world data set and see how we can infer some meaningful information from it. So, the data set I have used is from Kaggle. So, it is about the Indian startup funding for the year 2025. So, as required, I have imported the pandas over here, and then I'm loading the data, whatever we have whatever the thing that we have got. I'm just importing it. I have downloaded it into my local system. I'm just reading the data from there. So this is the data that I have got. So there are so many information in it, and in one go we won't be able to infer anything from it, right? So but let us try to understand the data now. So once you have some data, it is very important to understand what we have in hand. Unless and until we don't understand that thing, then we cannot we cannot infer any meaningful information from it. So we should know what each column must be doing. Okay, what each column, what information each column must be having, what information, if there is any change in the information that we have to make, then we have to make that. Once everything is done, then only we can start getting some meaningful information from the data. So if you see over here, okay, let us just find the number of rows and column of the data. So we have, so we can use the shape parameter of the data frame. So funding is the data frame that I have created. So using the shape parameter, I could find that there is 1209 rows and 10 columns. Okay. Now we need to know what are the columns that we will be having in it. Okay. So for that, again, I am using the columns parameter over here. So in the columns parameter, I have month. Okay, month must be the one month in which the funding we have got. Then we have company or brand, founded, headquarters, sector. So all these looks very means it is very easy to infer what each of these columns must be doing, right? What it does, founders, investors, amount, and change. So the meaning of the column is very easy to understand, right? So now let us get some information about the data set. For that, we are using the info function over here. So funding dot info I have done. So here what it is telling, we have 1209 entries, and it starts from the indent 0 which goes up to 1208. Okay, so that is perfectly fine. Then there are 10 columns. So in month we have 1209, not an issue. Company again 1209, founded 1208. So we can know that, okay, one value is missing over there, right? And again, the data type is float over there. So founded, it will be some year or it will be some date that is supposed to be there. So it cannot be a float value, right? See, if you see over here, see, it is given as a float and it is an year that is mentioned over here. So a company is founded in a year, that is absolutely fine. So but it would be a float value. Okay, it will be an integer value in normal cases, right? So that is an anomaly in the data that we are having. Again, one value is missing over here. Okay, and in headquarters, again, one value is missing. Sector is fine, what it does is fine. Founders, again, there are some values missing. Investors, there are a lot of values missing. Amount, there are few values missing. And stage, there are few values missing. So we have got this information from the data that we are having. So let us see what are the things missing. Let us just check if it is really missing or not. Okay, so what I am doing over here, here we found that in the founded column there is one value missing. Okay, so what I'm really doing is that what exactly happens, I'll just show. I'm just checking funding dot founded. So it is referring to the founded column is null. Okay, null will check whether if there is any null value in the column. Okay, if it is true or not, we are checking. Okay, so once I run it, I'm getting some false, 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 false. This is not going to give me any meaningful information. Okay, so if the it's null is true, I'll be getting true over here. Otherwise, I'll be getting false. This is not going to give me any meaningful information over here, right? So what I'm doing is I will just extract. Okay, I'll just extract only those portion in which this thing. is true. Okay, that is what I'm doing. So wherever the founded dot null is true, I am extracting that information from the data frame. Okay, that is why it is being done like that. So this is the condition when I am extracting that information from the funding data frame. Okay, so yes, we have one information for this 494 index. The founded is missing. It is given as NAN. Okay, so again, we'll check whether headquarters is null is true. Yes, there is some information missing for this company, Vidyagul, where the headquarters information is missing. Then we are checking whether founders information is missing. Yes, there are few companies whose founders information are also missing. Okay, so it is very evident that many data values are missing. So what we'll do now? Now we'll clean the data, okay, and make it suitable such that we have all the information in the data and we can derive some meaningful information. Okay, if some information is not available or not null, we won't be getting the exact information. And again, since we have lot of rows in it, it is okay, we can remove some of these rows. That doesn't make much difference, right? So we'll just go ahead and drop the rows with the missing values. Okay, so what I'm doing is funding dot drop na. Drop na means it will drop all those rows. Okay, all those rows which is having a null value. Okay, and we I'm doing it in place. That is, I want it to happen. All those deletions I want it to happen inside the existing data frame itself. Okay, I want it to modify the existing data frame itself. So that is what is being done over here. Okay, so dropping is done. Now we'll just check the information of the new set of data that we are having over here. Okay, now we are having only 741 entries, right? Earlier we had how many entries? We had 1029 entries. Now we are having only 741 entries. Okay, and for all the columns, if you see, we have 741 non-null values. Okay, so now we are ready to go and we have at least non-null values in our data. Okay, but if you see over here, for the 741 entries, the index is spanning from 0 to 1028, right? So which means that there are some indexes missing, but it doesn't make sense, right? Index is supposed to be range, means in the correct order. Even that is a correct thing to do, right? Because, and this is an internal index that we are mentioning over here, which got assigned when we loaded the data frame. So it's always better we maintain the correct order, right? We'll just see the indexes again over here. We can use funding dot index parameter over here. It will give us the indexes. So if you see over here itself, we can see that after 0, 1 is missing, then 3 is missing, 5 is missing. So there are many indexes what we are that are missing over here. So what we'll do is we'll just reset the indexes. Okay, we already have it had assigned some index to us, but since we deleted some rows from it, there is some anomaly happened, means some indexes got missing in between and all those things. So what we can do is we can reset the index. Okay, and then we will do a drop over there. Okay, if you don't do a drop, what happens is it will create a new index, and this index, the column with the missing index will also be present over there. So I'm telling, no, you drop the existing one and you create a new one. That's what I'm doing over here, and I am again doing it in place. That is, I am modifying the existing data frame. Okay, so I'm doing it now. I got a new data frame with where the indexes are all in proper order, and it will be having how many rows? 741 rows. Okay, but there are few things again that we noticed earlier, right? Here again, if you see, the founded is a float value over here. Then if you see in amount is having an object or object data type. Okay, so if you see here info also, amount is having an object data type, but amount should not be an object data type, right? It should be some int or at least float, right? It is an amount after all. So if you want to do some manipulations over there, it cannot be an object data type. It has to be a numeric data type. Okay, and again, if you see over here in amount, if you just scroll down like this, there are some values which is known as undisclosed, right? But with having the values like undisclosed also, it won't give us a correct information, right? So all these things also we have to remove. Okay, so first is we'll change the data type as of founded as int. Okay, So what I'm doing over here is funding of founded. It refers to the column, right? That we know. What I'm doing is I'm using funding dot founded. Instead of this dot, I can use the square brackets also here. Means it is both the same. Only thing is that then here I'll have to put it in single quotes. Okay. So funding founded. Then I am doing what I am doing it as type. Okay. So it will convert a particular series into the type that we specify over here. Okay. So I'm just converting this to the type int and I'm assigning it to the existing series itself. So this retrieves a series, right? So I'm taking the series, I'm converting it to int and I'm assigning it to the existing series itself. Okay. So I'm just doing it. Yes. And if you see over here, the float parameter, the point zero, which were there in each of these years, that is gone. Okay. Now, if you come over here, I'm just checking funding amount. We have seen the amount column. So this refers to the amount column. Dot str is numeric. I'm just checking whether is numeric or not. Is false. Okay. So I'm just retrieving all those rows. Okay. All those rows in that column where the thing new is not numeric. Okay. So for a series, if you want to do some string operations, okay, you have to do dot str and then you have to give the operation, whatever string operation you have to do. So I'm checking whether the current series that is mentioned is numeric or not. Okay, if it is numeric, the answer will be true. Okay, and otherwise it will be giving false. And I'm retrieving those information from this data frame. Okay, is numeric. So if you see, there are many rows which is having non-numeric values, right? So if you see over here in amount, if you see over here, see, there are many rows which is having non-numeric values, undisclosed, undisclosed, undisclosed. There are many rows like that, right? So there are almost 76 rows. Okay, so 76 rows is a huge amount, and we'll have to get some meaningful information from the amount field also, right? So having 76 rows on undisclosed value, it will not serve us any purpose. So what we can do is we'll just get the indexes of all those rows. So what I'm doing again, funding amount, str is numeric. So it is the same data frame that we used earlier, but I'm just getting the index of it using the index parameter. Okay, so all the indexes which is having this non-numeric value, I have got it now. Okay, so it is there in indexes. Okay, then here I'm going ahead and I'm going to drop it. Okay, so funding dot drop, I'll mention the indexes and I'm dropping those rows and I'm changing the existing data frame itself. So I'm just doing it. So if you now see over here, this is the new data frame that we are having and all the undisclosed thing would have been gone. Okay. But again, the number of rows really it is 65 rows only and 10 columns. Okay, and if you see the index is moving up to 740, so again we'll have to reset the index over there. So now we'll just query and see if we have any non-numeric values. Okay, is non-numeric values over there, we'll query and see there is none. Now since that we have dropped everything, there is none over there. Okay, now again we'll reset the index because there are only 65 rows and the index is running up to 740. So we'll just reset the indexes over here. So we are just resetting it. Then we'll just convert. Okay, it was of object type, right? So we are just converting it as float type. The amount we are converting it as float type. Then we are printing it again over here, and we'll see if we are seeing if there is any other abnormality in the data. As we cannot see anything as of now, right? So we'll just check the info once again. Yes, we are having 665 rows and the index is going from 0 to 664, and we have founded is int and amount is float, and so it looks like we are good to go. So let us now get some meaningful information from the data we are having. First thing that I'm trying to infer is how many startups were founded in 2021. So in the data, if you know, there is a column that is founded, right? So in that founded, we are just, what I'm doing is founding founded. Okay, so I'm extracting that series, then I am getting series and checking whether it is equal to 2021. Okay, and I am getting that data frame. So that is what I am doing. So funding dot founded equal to 2021, and that is a condition I am giving, and I am extracting that data frame only, means only those information from that data frame. Okay, and I am taking the length of it because we need to find how many startups were founded. Okay, so there are 43 startups that were founded in 2021. Now let us see maximum amount invested. So again, we are extracting the column, which one? Amount. Okay. And we are finding the IDX max, the location, the location of the maximum value in the, okay. Once we get that index, I am just using log to get the log operator to get the complete details of that. So here I am having it. So the company is Verse Innovation. It was founded in 2007. We have all the information of that company where the maximum investment is made. Okay. So the entire series, entire row is retrieved of there. How many times each investor invested? Okay. So we can use the, so if you want to get some count information based on some particular value. Okay, so when we do funding investor, it will take that series, it will group according to investors. Okay, this happens internally, it will group according to investors internally, then it will give the count for each of these groups. Okay, that's what happens. So we have got the as per the investors. So these are the number of investments they have made. So we can infer that Inflection Point Ventures have invested 23 times. Okay, and there are other investors who have invested only once. Okay, so after Inflection Point Investors, it's Tiger Global that has invested 9 times. So in 2021 itself, Inflection Point Ventures have invested 23 times. Okay, now how much each investor invested? Here we found that how many times each investor invested. Now here what we are going to find, we are going to find how much each investor invested. Okay, so we have to get an aggregate value over there, right? For each of the investors, we have to find the we have to group it according to investors, then we have to find the sum of the investment amount. Okay, so that is what I am doing is funding dot group by. How I am grouping? I am grouping it based on the investor. Okay, then I am retrieving investor and amount from that, and I'm finding the sum of the amount. This I am sorting it, I am storing it into a data frame investor amount. I'll just show this investor amount. Okay, so once we print it, I'm getting it like this. So I am having all the investors listed and the sum of the amount that they have invested. Okay, it is been listed like this. Okay, so what is happening is it is grouping by based on investors. Then I am telling, okay, you give me investors and amount. Okay, if select and give me investors and amount, that is what is happening over there. And from that also you should be doing sum of amount. Okay, so this is the selection in the data frame I am doing, these two columns, and on that I am asking for sum of amount. So that is why it is happening. So it will give investors as the index over here, and then the sum of the amount that is invested, it will give over there. Now if you want to, means like this, it is not clear which company made the maximum investment or anything, right? Means because there are 556 rows, so we can just sort it based on the values. Okay, we are sorting it based on the amount. That is why we are using sort values. And by amount we give the by based on which column we have to make the sorting, that we can give. Then we have to do it based on ascending or descending. So I want it in based on descending. Okay, so by default it will be ascending. So if you see, Tiger Global has made the maximum investment, if you see in terms of sum. Okay, so that information you can get it. So it has sorted on the basis of this. Okay, now if you come over here, we are checking the count of startups based on location. Okay, so we are again this is another method. Okay, earlier we had seen value counts, right? So we can use value counts also. Otherwise we can group by based on the which column we want, and we can just use the size parameter over there and you will be getting it. Okay, so if like this also you will come to know, and it looks like Bangalore has the maximum startups there. Okay, so again maximum and minimum investment based on location for each sectors. Okay, so now we are going to find the maximum and minimum investment based on location for each sector. So we are interested in the headquarters. Headquarters is giving out the location and the sector, right? So what we are doing, we are grouping by based on headquarters and sector. Okay, then from that we are getting the aggregate. We are using the aggregate function to, since we have to get both max and minimum together, so we are using the aggregate function, and we are passing as a list what all things we need. Okay, so that is what is happening over here. So here we are grouping based on two columns. Okay, so if you see over here, yes, we have got the requisite information. We have grouped it on the basis of headquarters, and then we have grouped on the basis of sector. Okay, so each location, this is the sector, and in this sector, this is the maximum value and this is the minimum value. That kind of information also we can get. But if you want to get this sector wise investment for a specific location, okay, so only the for a particular location, so we have to select from this. Okay, so this is a multi-index data frame over here. So when we are to select based on it, so we'll pass that information over here. So we need to select based on the first location, right? So we'll just pass Gurgaon. So this is for Gurgaon. These are the sectors that are available, and these are the max and min investment that is made. Here we pass Gurgaon because that is the first index in the means in multi-index, that is the first index, so we just pass Gurgaon over there. Okay, so we are selecting on the basis of Gurgaon. Here we are selecting on the basis, here we are checking in Bangalore for healthcare how much investment is being made. So we are passing two indexes over there. So location is the first index and healthcare sector is the second index. So we are just passing it over there, and we'll get the value max. Max investment is this, and min investment is this. So we'll get those values. So here we are using the log operator over here, because log operator we can pass the exact index name, right? And here we are passing the what is the value of the thing that we need it, and we are getting the requisite values over there. Now, again, we are checking one more thing, which sector got the maximum investment. Here we have found that there are lots of segments, and we are just checking which sector got the maximum investment. So it's the same thing. We are grouping it based on sector. Then we are retrieving sector and amount, and we are checking maximum of amount, so we'll be getting that value. Okay, so for each sector, what's the maximum investment that we got it over here. Okay, now we are just getting the, from this also we need to get the maximum. Okay, which one has the maximum, we are checking that. So we'll get its index, and then we'll use the log operator to retrieve the details. Yes, and finally we got the answer as innovation management has sector has got the maximum investment. So like this, we can use all the operations and functions that are available with pandas, and we can derive some meaningful information from the data that we are having over here. When we started on seeing this, we were not having any information, right? We were not understanding anything. So what we did is we cleaned the data based on some anomalies that we saw. We cleaned it, and after that we started retrieving information in a systematic manner. If you retrieve the information, if you think and retrieve the information, then you will be able to come up with all these kind of information, and then we'll be getting the details that we will be wanting. That's all for today. Thank you all.